In the intricate intersection of psychology and law, the forensic psychologist stands as a key player, decoding human behavior to serve justice. This role blends clinical expertise with legal insight, offering a unique lens into the minds of offenders, victims, and witnesses. The job description of a forensic psychologist encompasses assessment, consultation, and testimony, making it a vital cog in the wheels of courts, prisons, and beyond. Let's explore what this position entails, the skills it demands, and why it's a linchpin in the pursuit of truth. What does a forensic psychologist do? A forensic psychologist applies psychological principles to legal matters, working in settings like courtrooms, correctional facilities, or private practice. They evaluate mental states, assess risks, and advise on cases. Think criminal profiling, competency hearings, or therapy for inmates. Unlike general therapists who focus on well-being, forensic psychologists dig into how behavior ties to law, often under high stakes. Picture them as detectives of the psyche, probing motives, gauging sanity, and translating findings for judges or juries. They're the bridge between mind and justice, offering clarity where emotions and actions collide. Core responsibilities in focus. The job description of a forensic psychologist varies by case but centers on key duties. Here's what they typically handle. 1. Psychological assessments. They evaluate individuals, defendants, parolees, or custody parents, using tests and interviews to gauge mental health, competency, or risk. 2. Expert testimony. Presenting findings in court, they explain complex psychological concepts, like insanity or trauma, to aid legal decisions. 3. Consultation. Advising lawyers, police, or prisons, they shape strategies, profiling suspects, crafting rehab plans, or training staff. 4. Treatment. In correctional settings, they counsel inmates, addressing disorders or preparing them for release. 5. Research and reporting. Studying trends, like recidivism, or writing detailed reports, they back their work with data and rigor. These tasks cast the forensic psychologist as a thinker and communicator, blending science with real-world impact. Skills that define the role. To excel as a forensic psychologist, a robust skill set is crucial. Clinical expertise tops the list. Diagnosing disorders, interpreting tests, or spotting malingering takes deep psychological training. Analytical thinking follows. Piecing together behavior patterns or risk factors demands a sharp, curious mind. Communication is key. Translating jargon into courtroom clarity or calming a tense inmate requires finesse. Objectivity holds firm. They stay neutral despite emotional cases or pressure. Resilience seals it. Gruesome details or ethical dilemmas test their steel daily. A day in the life of forensic psychologist. Let's shadow Dr. Elena, a forensic psychologist in a bustling city. Her day starts at 8 a.m. with a court prep. She's testifying on a defendant's competency. By 9, she's reviewing his file, interviews, IQ tests, and a history of psychosis. At 11, she's in court, breaking down his mental state for the judge, calm, precise, unshaken by cross-examination. Afternoon shifts to prison. She meets an inmate up for parole, assessing his anger issues with a structured interview. At 2 p.m., she consults with a detective, profiling a serial burglar based on crime scene quirks. By 4, she's drafting a report, citing studies on recidivism. She wraps at 6, her insights shaping justice one case at a time. Challenges and rewards. The role's got teeth. Emotional weight piles up. Alina's cases, from murder to abuse, haunt late nights. Bias looms. Staying impartial amid heinous acts tests discipline. Time crunches hit, court deadlines or urgent evaluations squeeze her schedule. Public scrutiny stings, too. Testimony can spark debate or doubt. Yet rewards run deep. Cracking a case, like Alina's profile nabbing a suspect, feels victorious. Impact shines. Her parole assessment might steer a life back on track. The pay's solid, and the intellectual thrill, unraveling minds, keeps her hooked. It's a gig where science meets purpose. Why forensic psychologists matter? Forensic psychologists are the compass of justice. Without them, courts fumble sanity pleas, prisons miss rehab chances, and cops chase shadows. Alina's testimony sways a verdict, her inmate therapy curbs reoffense. They're the quiet architects of fair, informed decisions, grounding law in human truth. Midway through her career, the job description of a forensic psychologist proves its heft during a high-profile trial. A defendant claims amnesia. Alina's tests debunk it, revealing faked symptoms. Her evidence tips the scales, showing how these pros cut through deception to anchor justice. Pathways and opportunities. Becoming a forensic psychologist starts with a psych foundation, usually a bachelor's, then a master's or PsyD, PhD in clinical or forensic psychology. Licensing follows, often with 1-2 years of supervised practice. Alina earned her doctorate, specializing in criminal behavior, plus board certification for court cred. Growth beckons. She could lead a prison psych unit, consult full-time, or teach at a university. Skills, assessment, analysis, transfer to profiling, policy, or private practice, offering a career with depth and breadth. How does context shape the role? The forensic psychologist's gig flexes by arena. In courts, it's evaluations and testimony, competency, custody. In prisons, it's therapy and risk, rehab, parole. In law enforcement, it's profiling and training, suspects, tactics. The core holds: decode behavior, inform justice. This range keeps the role dynamic across systems. Technology's role: tech's reshaping the craft. Alina uses software for test scoring, databases for crime stats, and telehealth for remote inmate sessions. Digital forensics, like analyzing online behavior, adds layers. Basic tech savvy, running programs, reading outputs, is now vital, sharpening insights but upping the ante. Conclusion: the forensic psychologist is the mind behind justice, weaving psychology into law with precision and grit. They assess, advise, and testify, often unseen, always essential. From Alina's courtroom wins to countless cases, their work proves behavior holds answers. This role, cerebral yet grounded, lights the path to truth, perfect for a tale in text or on screen.